Hey my people, how you doing? Hoping we're damn good day. We're back with my 2021-22 Premier League predictions. Now, obviously this is my opinion. I'd love to hear yours down below in the comment section, where I hope to see some absolute blinding predictions, hopefully. So let me know down below your predictions and I'll tell you mine right now. Also, people, I'm starting an FPL league. So if you would like to join, please check out the description. The link will be there. Click, and hopefully we can join up and have a great time with a very stressful FPL season about to begin. So yeah. Anyway, starting off with my bottom three for the Premier League season. I've got Bournemouth. They're sitting bottom of the table. I've got Fulham, and then I have got a surprise. I think Everton are going to get relegated. I just don't think Frank Lampard's got it in him to keep them up for another season. I actually think he's going to get fired. He'll probably be one of the first managers out, my prediction, of course. As for Fulham, they're very much an up and down team, but they do have Marco Silva, of course, who is a fairly decent manager. They've made some astute signings, we'll say. Of course, Mitrovic, we don't know ever with him. I mean, even for FPL reasons, I've put him in, taken him out multiple times, but I just don't have that much faith in him. And of course, for Bournemouth, they've signed one player so far. As far as I know, it's the Marcus Tavernier from Middlesbrough United, I think. And yeah, I just don't think that they've got it in them. Minimal signings, minimal players brought in, and I don't think they have the quality to stay up. Next on the list, we've got Southampton now. Southampton, I don't know, they've lost quite a few players over the last few years, and last season they kind of fell off a cliff, if I'm being honest. They were doing so well, and then all of a sudden their form dropped and everything just turned, well, balls up really. So I don't think that they're going to have a very good season. I mean, it kind of is a wild card because I just don't know. Some of the signings they've made have been very underwhelming. The money that they put into the squad is not great, and it's basically the Southampton board saying well, no, they're not saying that, but it's basically the Southampton board saying, like, Ralph, we just need you to improve these players that we're giving you and just do the best you can. In at 16, I've put down Nottingham Forest. They've made some pretty good signings, Jesse Lingard being one of them. They're linked with some Spanish left back from Real Betis, who's a fairly decent left back to say the least. But they've also made some good signings overall. They also linked with William Carvalho from Real Betis as well. So if they pull off these great signings, I think they'll have a very decent first season in the Premier League, and I want to see them maybe get one or two shock results, but I want to see them survive, so I'll put them in at 16. 15 is kind of a shocker because they narrowly survived last season, but I've got Leeds United. I think with the signings that they've made, Jesse Marsh implementing his style of football and so on, I think that they're going to have a very balanced but good season compared to last season. You know, like, it's not going to be the most amazing season like that first Premier League season where they came in and they dominated and blew teams out of the water with their high pressing and everything. But I think next season we'll see a better Leeds United, a lot more compact Leeds United. Maybe, hopefully not shipping the amount of goals that they did last season. But I think we're going to have a better Leeds. And also having Leeds in the Premier League is never a bad thing. So in at 14, this one's kind of like the up and down one, that they could get relegated or they could do extremely well. But I have Brentford in at 14. I think maybe the loss of Christian Eriksen could potentially sink them. They haven't really replaced him as the playmaker in the team. And to be fair, last season before he signed with them, they were kind of dead and buried at one point. They just couldn't unlock Premier League defenses until they signed him. So I'd like to see what happens with them. I think players like Josh De Silva, who was injured for most of last season, I think he's going to be a very key player for them. And hopefully they can bring in maybe one or two new faces that can help with the midfield and so on. But I think for Bournemouth, I think Brentford are more or less safe for this season, but I could be wrong. Like I said, this is a very up and down one for me. I'm not too sure. In at 13, we've got Brighton, and of course some of their players are gone, like the likes of Basuma. He's off to Spurs. He's going to help them a lot this season, and you'll see why. And then of course Marco Vieira is linked with the move to Manchester City. Now, two very important players in their team, but I don't think it's enough for them or Graham Potter to kind of be out of options. So I think that Brighton will finish in 13th place and have a very mediocre season. Of course, not scoring as many goals as what they should. In at number 12, I've put Wolves. I think Wolves are a very average team. They need to invest more money, to be fair, I don't think they have done nearly enough as what they should have. I mean, a few seasons ago they bought Fabio Silva for like 40 million or 37 million or however many millions, and they splash cash and so on, but that money is somewhat dried out, and it's very concerning to say the very least, because it's like, well, Wolves, what are you going to be doing with the team that's aging? I mean, you've got Coutinho that's 40, Jimenez needs more support up front, you've got Adama Traore coming back, but I don't know if he's going to want to stay at Wolves. I mean, he did leave last season for Barcelona, so I'm not too sure how that's going to work out. But it will be very interesting to see. But I think Wolves are kind of in the middle of the pack, which is where I put them in 12. Next up on the list, we've got Patrick Vieira's Crystal Palace. I think Palace are going to have a very good season. There are rumours that Zaha could be moving to Roma. Jose Mourinho wants him, but I don't actually know if that's going to happen. But nonetheless, never say never. I do think that they have enough quality to just be on the outside of the top 10, finishing in 11th place. I think there will be one or two great surprises up their sleeves for this Premier League season, aka Eze. Yeah, no, one of my favorite players to watch. In at 10, I don't know. It's Steven Gerrard hasn't impressed me as a manager, but I think that Villa will have a very okay season. Yeah, I think Villa are going to finish 10th. They've made some good signings early in the window. I think Diego Carlos as a defender is going to absolutely blow opposition players out of the water. I think they've strengthened in the key areas that let them down last season, aka Tyrone Mings. Not a very good captain, not a very good defender, to be fair. Tyrone Mings has even been replaced as the captain. So yeah, it just goes to show, I think it's a very good move by Gerrard to do that, because it does mean that Tyrone Mings doesn't have to have a guaranteed place in the team. But yeah, so Aston Villa 10th. Like I say, I love their signings, and I think they'll have a decent season. In at number 9 is Leicester City. Of course, Leicester are potentially losing a few players. Kasper Schmeichel apparently is going to France. He's jumping ship. Of course, we don't know what's happening with Yuri Tielemans. Is he going to Arsenal? Is he going to United? Is he going to stay? We don't know. And then, of course, there's the manager, Brendan Rodgers, who... Yeah, last season he was found out. Last season he was out of ideas, and last season teams just rolled over Leicester. I don't really know how Leicester are going to perform, but I do predict a middle of the pack finish, which is why they're going for 9th. Kind of a best of the rest situation before we hop into the big guns. But yeah, I think Leicester are going to have a decent season at least. Jamie Vardy's still there, of course, they're Superman. So yeah, I think Leicester will finish 9th. In at number 8 is Arsenal. No, I'm joking. Before you jump down my throat, I make it known. In at number 8 is actually Newcastle United. Now, I think Newcastle United, they've made steps, they've made leaps, to be fair, between this point of well, this time last season, I should say, Newcastle were kind of dead and buried, because people had no faith in him, and it's amazing what a good owner can do, decent management, and so on. But I have Newcastle in at 8. I think that is just narrowly missing out in European football, Conference League 7th spot. But they could be contending for that space, we just don't know. I think the signings that they made in January really helped them. They haven't made an absolutely outstanding signing so far in this window, but I think they've still got a trickle up their sleeves. I think the signings of Nick Pope, for example, brilliant player, great goalkeeper. I think he suits them. He definitely elevates the defense a lot. They just need one or two new faces. They've been linked with players such as Isaac from Real Sociedad, who's a great player, young talent, of course. And I think we're all kind of just waiting for them to just splash some money, because you know they've got lots of it, but we just don't know when they're going to. But never fear, Newcastle, I think, a great season for them in 8th place. And at number 7, we have got West Ham United. Yeah, West Ham United, they finished 7th last season. They probably should have finished 6th, and United finished 7th, but luckily enough, United didn't. But anyway, I think West Ham United have a very good season again. They have lost one or two players, of course. Declan Rice, we don't know what's happening with him. Is he going to go to Chelsea? Is he going to go to United? We don't know, but as things stand right now, they look like a very good team. They've just signed Skamaka from Sassuolo. Brilliant striker. I think he will give Antonio the boost that he needs to elevate his game and maybe try and keep Skamaka out of the team. But if he can't, you know you've got a £35 million striker to come in. A great signing, by the way. I think he suits the way West Ham play. Balls in the box, quick, fast, agile. And of course, you've got the likes of Jared Bowen, Lanzini, and so on to support your main man. And then, yeah, you know, you've got Declan Rice and Souček in the midfield along with great defense. It will be a very interesting season for West Ham because I kind of do see them maybe borderline 6th, maybe pushing the team above them down. Like, I don't know. I think West Ham will finish wait, what? No, 7th. Yeah. In at number 6, I've got non-biased Manchester United. I don't think they're better than the teams above them at this point. They haven't had the best summer. They've had a very underwhelming summer. I think the total that they've spent so far is about 65 million, or around there at least. Brought in Tyrell Malacia, brought in Martinez, and then on a free brought in Eriksen. Don't get me wrong, they could be good players, but it's just not enough to elevate the team that came 6th last season, probably our worst ever season. I don't think those 3 signings make a huge improvement for United, so I have them in 6th place. Obviously, there are rumours in the works with De Jong and so on, and of course Ronaldo might leave, so we just don't know. But yeah, United's in 6th place, and I'm hoping for the best with Erik Ten Hag, to be honest. In at number 5, I have got Arsenal. Now, before you guys jump down my throat again, because we all know Arsenal fans love to overreact, I just don't think Arsenal, coaching-wise, are better than the likes of Spurs or Chelsea or Liverpool or City, right? Don't get me wrong, Arteta's doing a fantastic job, but I don't rate him more than the other managers. It's literally all about that though, because I think Arsenal's squad, barring a midfielder, don't get me wrong, if you guys sign another midfielder like a Yuri Tielemans, oh my goodness, top 4 is probably in your hands. But you haven't done it yet, and I'm going with what I can see right now. And right now, the midfield pairing of Xhaka and Partey, to me, is a top 4 contender. Whereas a midfield pairing of Tielemans and Partey, now you're cooking with absolute flipping petroleum. Point is though, I think Arsenal finished 5th, narrowly missing out. Like they did last season, narrowly missing out on Champions League football. But I think it will be a very good season for Arsenal. The problem is though, you need to limit the losses. You had 10 losses last season. Can they limit those? If they can, I think potentially top 4 is theirs. But speaking of top 4, I've got Chelsea in at 4th. We did see Arsenal literally slap them up the other day. Slightly worrying, not gonna lie. No striker to score the goals. Timo Werner is, non-existent. Raheem Sterling's a brilliant signing. Koulibaly's a brilliant signing. But the thing is, people, Chelsea have had the rejection summer of all time. I mean, linked with Koundé, Barcelona. Linked with Rafinha, Barcelona. Linked with Barcelona. It's just, yeah, it hasn't been great. Of course, they lost Rudiger to Real Madrid. They lost Christensen to Barcelona. The likes of Alonso and Azpilicueta are linked with Barcelona, man. Just Barcelona. The biggest fraud club out there, to be fair. Anyway, point is, I don't think Chelsea will have the dominant season that they want, but I think top 4 will be theirs. They just need to bring in a striker. Amandia Broja is probably going to be their main guy up front if they don't sign somebody, which I think isn't a bad option, to be fair, but I don't think it's enough to really contend. In at number 3, I've got Spurs. Spurs, of course, making some great astute signings. They made, 6 signings so far this summer? Got their players in early, did the business, paid the money. Richarlison could be a low-key player of the season. Not too bad, to be fair. And I think Spurs will have a great season there. Of course, they're in the Champions League. We'll have to see how that really affects their players, because let's be fair, they weren't in Europe for long last season, and then they kind of just focused on the Premier League. So we will have to see how things pan out, but I think the likes of Conte pushing the players the way he wants them to play, the likes of Harry Kane, Son, Kulusevski, Richarlison, and so on, I think they're going to have a great season. Of course, Basuma in midfield is a great addition, and maybe 1 or 2 defensive acquisitions, and they're set. So, yeah. Right, top 2. I've got Liverpool and then City winning the league. I just don't think Liverpool have enough in them after losing Mane. The front three is kind of going to take a hit now. I mean, Firmino is linked with a Juventus move. Of course, Darwin Núñez, he's still going to be settling in, and I don't think he's going to outscore the likes of Haaland, for example. Salah, of course, is going to score goals. It's confirmed, it's guaranteed at this point, but I don't think he's got enough support in that front three to help him potentially take on City properly, you know. Of course, the midfield's very solid: Thiago, Fabinho, Henderson, but you've also got a bit of a lack of midfield talent now. I just, compared to the City midfield, no, you're not on the same level. Defensively, of course, you're probably a bit better than City, but I just don't see Liverpool beating City to their third successive title. That's actually crazy. City could potentially win their third title in a row, and they're their sixth in however many years. So yeah. As for City, though, of course, they've signed Haaland. They've got a front three of Mahrez and Foden and Haaland. Of course, they've got Jack Grealish, who's gonna have a good season. I feel like he could be a most improved player this season. As for the midfield, of course, De Bruyne, you've got Rodri, and then Bernardo Silva. We don't know if Silva's going to go to Barcelona. Those rumours have kind of died down quite a bit. Barcelona, I think, are focusing their newfound investments in other areas, not really focusing on Bernardo Silva just yet. And of course, they've signed Calvin Phillips from Leeds. So yeah, I think that City are going to win this title. So, you know, it's people say, oh, but you've gone for the same top 4 as last season. Yeah, kind of. I mean, City winning, Liverpool second, but Spurs third. It's slightly different. But yeah, so those are my Premier League predictions. Please let me know down below what yours are. And of course, guys, if you'd like to join the FPL League, join the Bomb Squad League. It's going to be lit as fuck. And I hope, of course, you guys have a damn great day.